So I would like to call the meeting to order. What time do you have, Jeff?
5:03.
5:03. We can wrap up a little early today because both teams are playing.
You're my man.
So I wanted to start by saying, I put the agenda together and I'll often share it with Ann, or if someone had something when I put on the agenda, that's fine. But if I don't hear from someone and you have a topic that you think we should address, we can always amend the agenda, given that it's a scheduled meeting, not a special meeting, which we can't change. So that's why I put on the top approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything that's not an agenda they'd like to discuss?
I just mentioned my thing to you, so it's,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, so, and, you know, personally, I like to be pretty flexible in our meetings, so we kind of figure out topics. And there's nobody, connected in public, and I think that will be perhaps something that'll, people realize these meetings are available online. I think we may have eventually some public comments, but nothing tonight. So would someone make an approval to set the January meeting minutes? Christine, a second. Don't. Any discussion, any corrections, any changes to the minutes? Okay. All in favor of accepting the minutes? Opposed? Okay, the minutes are accepted. And this is our annual meeting, since it looks like all three members outstanding have all been reappointed, and it looks that did you raise your hand already, Christine? To be sworn in again?
Oh, no, I forgot. I have not done it. Oh, so can I not?
But you, Fred and I are all shown as.
Yeah, but I gotta get
29.
approval, but yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot to go and get
Yeah.
sworn in.
So I actually had a new member at a meeting last evening who couldn't vote because he was, did not get sworn in, and Martha told him he can't vote. So are all the officers, are you still interested in remaining secretary and vice chair?
Yes, I'm happy to, sir.
Would someone make a motion to?
A motion?
Okay, second. Comments, any thoughts? So shall we go ahead and vote all in favor of accepting the slate of officers?
I
Opposed? You can vote.
Oh, I didn't know if it carried
Yeah.
over. Okay.
So as far as the budget goes, Fred was there last night and he said he's been at the town hall quite late the last 2 nights.
Yes.
So I'm just tired and I want to go home and go to bed early tonight. That's fine. Just as long as you got our budgets passed. Open space and road safety both had their budgets okay.
Very nice.
So, we had a flat budget. We have some monies left over, so we have, roughly about $4,800 in carryover stewardship funds from last year. And I expect that we will expend that and more on beavers at Whippoorwill to unclog the culvert and then to put beaver deceiver device later this spring. Probably be close to 5,000, maybe a little over. In terms of our regular budget, we've only spent 73% of the budget so far. And most of that, a lot of that is we haven't spent anything yet in legal. Legal tends to basically be a unpredictable account, depending on whether you have issues with making an acquisition or so forth. And we're a little bit short on what we expended on stewardship, but that's partly because it's been cold. Peter hasn't been out much. He did get snowshoes, I think. And didn't take a little-
Facebook Marketplace.
yeah, and we're down. Hi.
Is that the open space meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Are you John?
I am John.
Hi, come on in.
Good, thank you. Some things work. I was worried that the door downstairs was gonna be locked.
No.
It's at 4 o'clock. Like, oh,
Yeah, no, we don't walk it for meetings. Let me take a quick break. So, John applied, for membership in open space, and all the positions are filled, but I asked him to come to a meeting, if there's an opening that occurs. If he could say he's been to a meeting, because that one of the requirements the board likes to see for a prospective applicant. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about your interest and your background in conservation, John.
Great, so I really appreciate having the opportunity of being here. I moved to Old Lyme, almost 4 years ago. From New York City, previously to New York, I was living in Princeton, New Jersey, where I raised a family of 4, worked in the pharmaceutical industry for about 20 years, and ran my own digital health company for 13 years. And basically went back to school, got my master's in public health, and realized living in New York that the one thing I missed the most was nature. And I love dogs, and so we were looking on Zillow, spent a good 3 months on Zillow, and just came across Old Lyme. What reminded me most about Old Lyme was where I had grown up as a kid on the weekends in East Hampton, Long Island. And this was in the 60s and 70s. My parents had a beautiful property there, and I just realized that you draw a line from East Hampton, go due north, and it's Old Lyme. And Old Lyme reminded me of all the great things about the whole eastern shore in those days. Sadly, it's totally a different place, and I just didn't want to be anything like that. Came back to my parents owned a farm of 8 acres. And so open space became a really important topic for us as a family. I have brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, I had my really kind of both my parents died early. So we had to decide what we wanted to do with the property. So it was a really interesting discussion, but I ended up buying with my partner a property here that's 5 acres. It's the Harry Hoffman home, actually, that we just love, and we're right on preserve. So there's 45 acres of preserve there. Hoffman is one of the names on the preserve, and we help that preserve as a steward. I always feel like I'm a steward of land. I don't think we ever really own the land. I think we want to be able to look at a beautiful piece of nature and really say, let's preserve it. So I'm very, very much in favor of open space planning. Really, really important.
Appreciate your coming by and your interest.
Oh, great. Well, listen, I think it's time for us to get involved. I've been sitting on the sidelines, and because of everything that's happening in the world, I just feel like if you think you have the energy and the aptitude, you owe it to society.
I'm not gonna dogs do
A more important question. We have 3 dogs, as I said. We have a mini Labradoodle, Australian Labradoodle, who's kind of my dog, 14 years old, great. Then we have a small Bichon Poodle who's 13 pounds, who's like the ruler of the roost. And then we rescued this 100-pound dog who was originally from the Netherlands, and we believe it's half sheepdog, half king poodle. So it's just a massive white dog.
Wow.
So we call him our gentle giant. He just loved me. And if people are walking by on Still Lane, sometimes he'll just run down to greet them. Of course, alarming to most people. He's very obedient, great. He's 3 years old as well.
It's good that you have him with your small dogs, he can do protection because there's a lot of coyotes in town.
I've been hearing, and they are constantly at night barking. And I just think they are kind of like, I love animals, all animals, birds, mice, whatever. So we're constantly at odds with, hey, the dogs are barking too much. They're probably disturbing the deer, disturbing whatever. But we feed the birds and doing as much as we can.
For coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for your work.
So, I was just talking about the budget, so this agency just got its basic budget approved, by the board of finance, last evening. But said they were not gonna take up the, contribution to the acquisition fund, and I have no idea where that's at. That's gonna be fun. Well, I know that every year seems to be now, but again, it's a tight budget year. Just like woman told me, she was happy that open space and a number of agencies came in with flat budgets. I think really appreciated that. In terms of things coming up, I think I mentioned it before, but I wanted to mention it again because it's been really being stressed by the town. There's an FOI meeting on February 26th. If you can attend it, everybody's encouraged to do that. And Jasmine, I mentioned, you're welcome to attend it. We'll pay for your.
Yeah, the 25th, Wednesday, the 25th.
Yeah.
What's that?
Wednesday, the 25th.
Isn't it?
25th, I'm sorry, it's the 25th?
Yeah. Yes.
Like six, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's like 6 to 8:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
6:30. Oh,
It's 6:30, but there's something happening at 6, I think,
Oh.
from some startup thing.
How would that be relevant for us? What would be the benefit for me to attend other than?
it's good to just to go over it, listen to what they have to say. One of the ways that agencies can kind of get tripped up is you have informal meetings. If you have 4 members, even if you meet out in an open space and you start talking about, we need to do this, that's officially a meeting.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing about the seminars, I'm sure that's going to be the case again this year is either one of the select people or Katie will go over various town procedures, mail, accessing the building off hours, all that type of stuff. So may not affect you, but it may be of interest. So, again, so up to you. I'm just telling you that what I hear is encouraging members to attend. So, and do you want to talk a little bit about Peter's report? Interest? Such that it is.
Brief. Chris, it's brief, but Peter did come out with me and Joe Atwater. Must have been last month to walk it for the beaver. I mean, the wood duck boxes. And he also, I don't remember if in his December report, if he actually noted that he did all the cut-ups and purchasing of he might have mentioned that, but those are things that he doesn't always include. And I would sometimes tell him, he offered to come with, for the wood duck, but he does a lot of things behind, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. Yeah, it's been really hard to walk the trails, and when we went out to look at the wood duck box, Fred and I went out, my friend went out, and we walked through it so that Joe could walk through it easily. So it's just, today's the first warm day, so I don't expect much going on, but
Where do you think you're gonna mount that anchor? Is it gonna be in the trees that are out?
yeah.
Are you gonna go out in a boat or waders or?
Well, yes, Joe identified the spot. If you're next to Logan's Bridge, facing Logan's Bridge, it would be to the right of that. And there's a little clump of area of trees that are where a pole could be put in. But that's the preferred spot. And a wood or metal pole, but the metal pole will be less likely to be gnawed at, even though it would be out in the water, and then a baffle. So Peter was out there, so he knows where to go, and Peter could go in waders, he could go in a little rowboat, and you'd need at least two people or kayak to hold the boat and plant the pole and have to have, check it out a little bit more when the ground thaws to be sure that there's enough area to plant the pole. Alternatively, it could be put up against one of the trees that we also kind of identified the area, but that's the idea. And it would be one there and one on Ames, and he would get back to us on where that might go. And we're looking at spring, so even before so as soon as the ground is workable and visible, then I would ask that Peter get the equipment.
So how are you gonna sink this pole? How tall is the pole?
It just has to be eye level.
Oh, okay. So
Um,
you
uh,
could still like hit it with
yes.
a mallet or such hammer.
High level?
Yeah, like like Greg's eye level more than mine. But
they were the dots.
they don't have to be, but if you also want to clean them out.
This is true.
That's easier to do, and a baffle would then protect them from the snakes and other things.
What's your thoughts on that? Because I did have a discussion with Joe about, like, whether we're gonna use pine or maybe cedar. And Joe said, are you gonna clean them out? And I said, I'm not sure we are. He says, well, if you're not sure you're gonna clean them, if you don't clean them, you're better off going with pine the last 3 years uncleaned, and then you can build new ones. Because I think the cedar was a fair bit more expensive than lumber.
Hmm.
So that's an option.
Well, they
I
are
have a
built
lot of
already.
Cedar that I have felled on my property and had it milled. So there are boards that if there was an opportunity to use them, I would happily donate them.
The boxes are built.
The boxes are built already.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know they were.
Okay.
For the pole,
Okay.
so he was talking metal for the poles.
Okay.
Were you talking metal? No, you're
I
talking
was-
pine for the
I was
boxes.
talking about the type of wood for the boxes.
Right,
Yeah.
so he went with the pine because it was cheaper. But I think we'll at least attempt to clean them out. And see just how like laborious that is.
Do you have to put, the apple things on there to keep like raccoons or something from climbing up there?
Yeah.
Snakes, yeah.
I think I've seen them whenever, but right under the new house, right, where you have the trail reopened at Ames, near the Beaver Lodge. But not sure what it is, if it must be a wood duck thing, because that would be the only thing. But
There is a wood duck box out there and it was not put up by us. I think it's a neighbor.
Okay,
So when you're going on the blue trail, the
Yeah.
perimeter, yeah,
Yeah.
kind of way out in the middle.
The other issue is a while ago, I lost track of time, but Andrew and I met with Jamie McCliskey, who's the town HR person. And we talked about hiring a second steward to help Peter and serve as the backup. Jamie posted something on the town website, and she got 3 applicants. One of them sounded terrific. She followed up and called each of the 3, and each of the 3 thought it was a full-time job, and they said they need 40 hours, so we're back to 0. So I talked to her today and
Yeah, one of them that you shared was like, this guy sounds great.
Yeah. So we're gonna post something on the CLCC jobs listing, and the one thing about that is, I'm gonna stress the language that it is a part-time job, it's a great second job if you want it to work after work or on weekends or whatever. And one of the things that Jamie and I both thought would be incumbent, not that it was a bad fit with Isaac, but we did have another steward well back ago, I think his name. I can't think of it, but he was commuting from like Avon, and it's just, we're gonna tell people, if you have too long a commute, this might not be the job for you.
Right,
If you're
yeah.
working 2 hours and you're spending 2 hours on the road. So,
Right.
in that regard, I'm gonna be leaving for a short vacation next Thursday, and then come back on March 3rd. Would you, would one of you like to have Jamie forward any applicants that we get from CLC for you guys to look at?
Sure.
I mean, maybe the gentleman from Avon like has a summer house here or something. I mean, he's gotta know that Avon's a pretty long drive from or to Old Lyme, right? So,
This was a person in the past.
oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought it was a new applicant.
I know, kind of generally talked about it, but it's sort of pressing and then as soon as it gets thaws, those beavers took a small tree down, and almost hit the beaver deceiver. There's a big one near it that I don't mind if people are busy wrapping something around it, but just get some steel around it so they won't chew it. The first bridge, they've already girdered the big tree near it, and hopefully that's gonna come down at some point, and it's gonna be bad, but there's nothing we can do about it. But the other one, the newer one, maybe if we put wire, we should put wire around some of the trees there, just to.
Right.
We're
and that's
supposed to
what I
bring-
was
In fact,
talking
yeah.
about, so we have the cages, I call them, we put around the saplings at Ferry Landing. that
Okay. We'll
we
make it.
removed because they are even anymore.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not like chicken wire, they've got a pretty big opening, nevertheless,
We could double them up or something.
we could
It's
double
not-
them up. And there's I think a dozen of them or something, so there's
that
quite a
should be
bit of
enough,
material.
yeah.
And what's nice about them is, you don't have to drill into the tree or nail into the tree or staple, you can just kind of like
I tie wrap the one that we
tie
did.
wrap them or wind them around each other, like, cause they have ragged ends, and if you just sort of make a little loop out of metal, they,
I don't know, if Peter has, I don't mind doing it either because I'm not on hold on a few other things.
well, just let me know where, they're on my back deck, so people can come help themselves, or I can deliver them if I know who's gonna be doing it, so.
Um, I can get them and then Peter
Yeah, I
knows
would,
where my house is. He's been there.
All right.
yeah,
Um,
I would say get them and then you could,
Yeah, I'll shoot.
I know sometimes you go, hey, it's a great day, I'm gonna go out now, but if you have it
that's
planned,
good for
you
me.
could also call
Yeah,
Peter.
it'd be good. I'm gonna be gone most of March, so I probably sooner than later. I'll email you sometime later this week.
Just let me know.
So we kind of jumped ahead, get into
Oh,
the, that's
sorry.
funny. So we're waiting on Whippoorwill for things to thaw a little bit, for Monster back area and try to clear that out. And then,
I was surprised because I was there at the end, because he had to use my waders, so I didn't wait till I got back. But he actually walked in and hooked up in the culvert, which he was a little scared of that, but I don't know what he had. I never saw it like pull all the way through, but he left one rope so he can do it. But I saw how he did it, so I can always do it if we needed to do it. Again, he just had a 12,000 pound Harbor Freight winch that he hooked up to his car battery. And that was what he was using to pull it through. So, isn't that elaborate? But I think he said he's gonna come back with a bigger truck.
yeah, he's been good keeping me apprised of what's going on, and so is Johnny Egan. Just as an FYI, though, I asked Johnny Egan about your idea of maybe using coyote urine to keep the beavers out of there. He said he highly doubts it's gonna work, but he said if it does work, let me know. He said
Coyotes, wolf, they
he
said.
said that beavers are very habituated to coyotes. Coyotes basically walk around their ponds, see
Yeah,
how they
that's
can
what-
get in there.
Yeah.
He says that their beavers
Hmm.
are not uncomfortable with the scent of a coyote.
No, that was, no, we talked about that last time, but you probably forgot. This is wolf pee, I got it.
Okay.
That might scare them.
Okay.
They said if you put one of those fake coyotes up, they'll all be next to it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that could be interesting if maybe back in their
I have it ready to go. We'll try it and see.
brain, if they can distinguish between wolf and coyote, whatever, we'll see.
For the discerning, no.
Those beavers, they probably.
I have to tell you, the coyote that I saw was like a wolf. I mean, it was huge. It was like this big gray monster. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was some sort of hybrid.
Somebody asked me, because we had one in New York that was so beautiful and healthy and pictures. Oh, is that a wolf coyote? And I'm like, I don't
The
know.
males are
It's,
really
they're-
big.
I don't,
Yeah, he was
Yeah, protect the-
they're not
I've had one go out.
documented wolves in
No,
Connecticut.
there's no wolves.
We have a good friend that lives in Vermont, and there's a lot of toy dogs that breeds between like a shepherd and a coyote, and those offspring are different than coyotes.
Are they?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, Martha Stewart apparently posted something on Facebook about 2 weeks ago about gold.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and they're saying that's what they think it was a
Huh.
coy, I think it was gorgeous and it was huge.
Yeah.
A coy dog, a coyote with a
Yeah,
dog.
they breed with dogs,
They-
yeah.
They're
wild.
close enough relatives they can interbreed.
Mm.
It'll be interesting over time and then if the koi dog goes back into the coyote population growth. Because I think the eastern coyote is already larger than the coyotes you find out west.
I think
Size-wise,
it
yes,
is,
yeah,
yeah.
Well, this guy was like, I would say 80 to 100 pounds easy. I mean, Maple's 60. And this coyote thing was like, it was gray and beautiful and like a very, very large
Show you
German
a
shepherd.
mugshot.
Yeah. Well, we had one, our other neighbor sent the brown one around.
I haven't looked at that.
Yeah. Well, we live across the street from each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
We get
That might be him, that is.
frequent flyers.
Yeah,
Literally,
that might be
it's
him.
me.
I mean, I think what was interesting is, the Streckle sent me one
Yeah.
of like a brown one, and I'm like, no, that wasn't him, mine was gray.
Ben can put the picture in the notes, right?
Yeah, it's definitely gray.
Yeah, mine was gray,
Tawny and just handsome. So
Yeah.
get out.
but he's healthy and very big looking, I think it could be him.
We have a den nearby.
Yeah, I think they do, 'cause
Yeah.
my daughter heard, them howling one
Yeah,
night,
they're
she
doing
got
that.
totally freaked out.
Yeah,
And I said, well, they're howling, they're not, they're in the den,
yeah,
like, go back inside.
I love hearing you.
yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Like, and 'cause sometimes you'll hear the single one and I'm like, he's looking for love.
Yeah. That's because he's hanging out in my backyard waiting for it, like.
Has anybody heard of E-Weather? Does anybody know who he is?
Yeah.
No.
So he's an amateur meteorologist and he posts his predictions and I find they're really well thought out and often more accurate than the commercial weather services. So I kind of follow him on X, where he posts these things and he's been posting a lot of images lately over the last 2 weeks of how he's crossed, he lives along the river in Haddam, how he's crossing the Connecticut River on the ice,
Wow.
going from his side over to Goodspeed side.
Wow.
That's great.
So there were tracks on the ice, behind my house.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't dare go down in far enough to venture out to see who it was. I kind of in my mind just said it's gotta be a bobcat, but it very well could have been the coyote or the deer or whatever. Yeah.
Speaking of tracks, I was hiking behind the library, across from the academy. I've had it like it was the size of my hand, cat track.
Wow.
I took a picture about my glove, it was pretty big.
So you can tell, like, I can't tell who, I'm like, is this a dog? Is this a cat? Like, I'm like, I
I
don't know.
had dogs usually have an X, and the cats had like a W heel.
Oh,
And, yeah, no.
Or say that again? Dog
Retracted, retracted
Right.
claws.
No. Okay, that's great. Yeah, those are easy ways to identify.
But I think we should like not scare the public. I have like people that hike with me that one guy was carrying, we were doing a compass thing and our compass went nuts. He had a gun and it's like, pass.
Oh my God.
You're right, we kicked him out, but he was afraid of, ants. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, the last thing I want to get is.
Yeah,
a gun.
that'll come up. That'll come up.
And you're afraid of guns, so you're like, you're in here. Yeah, it's crazy.
I've seen coyotes like this close to me before and they don't, they're small. They're the big one, I'd be a little bit.
Listen, I came like, he was like, I mean, from here to like, I'm gonna say like the corner, like, we were very close, like, we did like a full eye to eye contact. And I ran as fast as I could with my dog on this side of me, so I was in the middle. And, you know, I guess they say don't run, well, you know, I'm sorry, like, I ran. I was held my grill getting back, I was free, I told Ann, it was like quite the calamity. But it was dark and he saw me and I saw him and I was like,
You probably go after your dog
Yeah,
before.
I'm
you
sure
do
he
it.
was-
Yeah.
well, the other thing too that was very terrifying was he was quiet, like, I had scanned the yard. Nobody was in the yard, I took Maple out, and all of a sudden I had that creepy feeling, I looked and he was right there. I'm like, where did you come from?
Well, they stay out in your yard and they watch your animals come out, like if you let your dog out, and they get a sense of where and when I'm telling you that this is.
I do believe
And
that.
that's how they get domestic
Oh, my
animals.
goodness.
So I don't know that there's much risk now, given the snow and whatever, but when things thaw. I'm gonna have Martha put something in her weekly newsletter to tell people when you're out with dogs in the springtime, and it's the coyote, season
Okay.
for pups.
Yeah.
The mothers are extremely protective. And there was a period there, 3 years in a row, we had coyote, dog dog injuries from
Yeah.
coyotes.
Yeah.
That was up in
People
meeting
letting
house.
their dog
right?
let loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Champlain North, they were.
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, that's awful, you know, it's like so scary. But, yeah, alive and well.
I think that's a great idea, by the way. I always read Martha's newsletter because I find it's the one thing that kind of puts me in touch with what's happening in the community. But I think the more we can educate the public about what you all recommend, I think the better. I think that's part of the
Right.
idea.
Yeah, we
I don't
had a
know.
beaver education seminar recently.
I hear.
Yeah, and maybe we should think about a coyote.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
The other thing I wanted to mention is we had talked about, Bill had scouted up a location, I guess just south of 95, where you could cut through and connect some of our properties. And I was talking to Sabine O'Donnell about that, and I ended up finding an old, um, survey from before Champlain North was actually a town or state property. And I think she was going to check, not for that in particular, but for the abutter that has property along, Whipple Road. It's a long, narrow strip. So I think you were saying maybe having Bob Doe or something.
Yeah,
do that.
she's, I was gonna say, we've contacted Bond, to give us a quote or, you know, a survey, knowing that we have, you know, some things that I think he had already marked for us for,
Okay.
you know, for the.
Were they gonna
land.
just do the property line or the whole property? I know I said to Edie, she was asking.
Yeah,
to me
this is not,
we could pay
this goes
something.
beyond where you were, Bill. This is property to the
Recess.
south of there. Yeah.
Oh, different,
If you, along that piece of Whippoorwill, you can see somebody, it's a narrow strip of property, kind of goes up to the ledge and somebody has a couple little things in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's the property they're concerned about,
oh, it is,
about whether there's been some
Encroachments.
intrusion onto
okay,
both our property and their property.
okay. They're quite territorial, those guys, whatever they're doing in here, I think they come down from Mass.
That was a nice piece of property. I wish that open space had got that.
But what, as far as what I think that, I talked to Edie and they were going to get a survey and then she said there was some movement that just say, have them hike from Jayden. And I said, this is a safety issue, you're saving half a mile of dangerous road walk. And it's really hasn't a border issue, as we talked about, it was more, they've had that property for 30 years and they're back with no veteran in there and don't want anyone in there, so we'll see what happens. I thought it just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
NIMBY is kind of a universal thing,
Yeah.
issue that they like to deal with in different manifestations.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention, I sent it around today is, DEEP has a new program that basically help towns with resiliency in their forests. And they could do things that we could. They would have a force to visit the properties, we probably have to select one or two, I don't know, if we work all of them. And he would maybe give us some hints to selective cutting. Of how we can introduce more native species. Sometimes I think we'll look to generate money from timber sales, and that's something that we've never done before, but we could do. I mean, it's, the state was going to cut the preserve on Old Saybrook, and that cost a little bit of an uproar a couple of years ago, but that's something we might look into, but I was pleased that many of the programs that are available basically exclude towns like Old Lyme. They're focused on some of the larger towns, and this is specifically for towns less than 50,000. So I sent in basically a statement of interest for Old Lyme, and we shall hear the grant program. They're actually not gonna, DEEP is actually not gonna release the details of the grant program until June, so it'll be down the road. But I thought immediately of Ferry Landing, and that we have somebody come down there.
Yeah.
Actual forester and give us some advice.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention about, Ferry Landing is I hope I sent everybody, and I know you got it for Gateway, the Amtrak newsletter.
You know, I have to just say how impressed I am. I mean, who would read a new Amtrak newsletter but Greg? I mean, you have the tale of noting,
But
anyway,
just.
I was
It's
impressed.
been Martha's.
Yes, I was gonna say, I can't take.
So, Greg,
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how much stuff Greg reads. That's why I was like, oh yeah, I saw that and.
I don't know, I'm signed up, but I never get a newsletter, so I have to check.
Oh.
I would be embarrassed to tell you how many publications. But the thing I thought was interesting is I didn't realize they were gonna do some mitigation at their access point on Shore Road. And one of the things they talked about was installation of tidal wetland plant species.
Yeah,
So it-
so I reached out to them about that because the way they went about it, I was not so thrilled about. We kayaked down there fairly late in the spring probably, and they had mowed the marsh just south, just, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
between, after the Kennet River Bridge crossing, right next to that on the way out towards the Connecticut. And they mowed it at a time of year that I was like, guys, you know, do you have environmental scientists working on this project? Because it was the wrong time of year to mow.
They moved just north of their access road.
Oh, okay,
Pretty big swath,
yeah.
just north of that, going from Shore Road all the way to the railway right away.
Uh-huh. And do you know when they did that or?
Was there any response from when?
They got back to me, and they were all huffy. This is part of our environmental restoration work. Well, you're doing it wrong.
What are they gonna plan? Because the private
That's
owners would
a
just
good
take
question.
over.
And
Yeah, that's what we'd like to know.
We could certainly.
Remember
reach out.
they mowed behind the highway years ago
Yeah,
and it did nothing. It was back in 2 years.
You can't just
you gotta
mow.
keep doing it.
If you're just mowing, you have to do it every
Yeah.
year.
Anyway.
And you could do it at the
We
appropriate.
can find out what
time.
they're doing that could be interesting. The other thing I wanted to mention is your Fred still on affordable housing?
Yes,
But he stepped down as chair,
correct.
okay, but planning is having a hearing tomorrow night
Yes,
to consider the re-subdivision of the two McCulloch envelopes, and I'm hoping that'll push it forward so they can actually get working on that, and we can kind of
yes.
put that in a rearview mirror.
They were waiting for the survey maps and a letter from the fire chief to talk about the turnaround in the driveway and other things, and it was a very slow domino effect. You know, waiting for Greg, who's waiting on Ann, who's waiting on Russ, and it was just like and approaching each one multiple times and getting Martha involved and just saying, you know, after a point, it's like, you know, there's no response here and anyway, it's pieces and people and parts are in place. So hopefully it has all the proper stamps and to move forward.
So
We
this will
talked about that a little bit today, because it's like one of the only places around where it's flat, wide, and would be good cross-country skiing. And, we're gonna lose the, up, you know, about 200 feet of it, possibly look at putting a trail. I think Fred said the border, he looked it up on our way home, and it is a rock wall, and maybe see if we can find a flat area there, but there's another piece of land that's over there, Greg, that if you can look at it sometime on the GIS map, I highlighted it. That comes right off of the road, right as you come off over the bridge to the T section. There's a strip that when you hit it with a GIS map, it doesn't highlight. And I know from other towns, that's usually an old road, and that's flat and goes into what could be a nice trail system. For
This
that.
is on the McCulloch property. Off of Flat Rock you're talking about?
Yeah, that,
There is a road back there.
right, but we lost part of it with the.
Yes, but there's another kind of road area. Rob McCarthy, who does cross-country running, his wife used to ride horses there when she was younger, so there's
That might be it.
some kind of,
Yeah, that was for you.
Isn't that
Greg.
about, how, oh my gosh, hold on. Doesn't that about like Maywood, if you go in the back?
It
it's like-
does, yeah.
Yes.
It does,
There's
okay.
a little strip that, as I said, doesn't come up as someone's property, and it shows property to the north, property to the south, and what is this? And it looked like it might have been an old road, so that might be Rob.
yes, so Rob
Talking about-
McCarthy and his wife have familiar with that. Whatever it was, I mean, she was recalling her childhood and going through that way.
It would be maybe another flat access, but there's about a 3 mile loop in there that reasonably flat, wide, and it'd be perfect. Yeah, about the only good spot to do.
So we'll veer slightly off agenda again. I happened to talk to Melinda Cronfeld today. We got, Eric Knapp actually got forwarded to me, and I've shared it with Ann, a listing of town properties from Rivertalk by Margaret Burns, who's their environmental planner, and asking which of these properties are permanently conserved via ordinance, conservation easement, any other legal instrument. And I've been reluctant to respond to her because I'm not quite sure what she's looking for. I think it has to do with eventually perhaps putting together an inventory of land available for affordable housing development. And Melinda said she would work with us and go over that list and try to identify where those properties are and any information that she would have on those properties. So that would be a great boost for us. That might be a backdoor way to come up with a listing of, complete listing of open space properties around town. There's, just to recap a little bit, there are a lot of 2 to 5 acre properties in town that the town owns that were deeded to the town pursuant to a subdivision application. They were set aside properties. Unfortunately, when that's been done in the past, the deed has specified the town of Old Line without further detail showing that that was intended to be open space. So it has been a headache. Amanda Blair, a title searcher, and she was having difficulty doing some of this research.
Well, how do you count for open space that's not owned by the town? So, you know, neighborhood association or planned community,
Yes, yes.
yes, that's open space in building.
Privately owned.
Yeah.
But
Each, yeah, but they should have covenants within their
Yeah.
HOA agreement.
So how do we account for that?
That,
For total open space in the town, that's a lot of area.
it is, but
we're really only concerned with what the
Yeah.
town owns.
years ago, I know that years ago,
Yeah.
the land trust struggled when Mike was trying to put together a listing of all open space in town, you know, and between what we own, what HOAs own, what the state owned, what the federal government owned, what PNC owned, it was a headache.
Yeah.
And he did his best, but
Mine has been very active on this, and they're way ahead of us and able to collaborate in some ways that we haven't been able to, but, you know, I think it's something of real concern for the rural communities. Looking at, you know, what is this affordable housing mandate gonna look like in our towns?
so. Veering a little bit off, we'll get back to third landing in a bit, but, I was talking to Mike Aurelia and we were just talking with each other about what our various commissions are doing, and I mentioned we were having difficulty pursuing a conservation easement for third landing in Bartholomew because we didn't have anybody hold an easement, and I said, I thought we were close to a deal with Audubon, and they backed out, and Mike says, would you mind if I pursued that? I said, no, I would not.
Mike's like, oh, there you go.
Mike's been on the Audubon, well, he has spent at least 15 years on the Audubon board, you know, Joyce, who's the head of Audubon, very well. I'm gonna call her and talk to her, and I said, those two properties that we're talking about are in town, it would take Joe Atwater 20 minutes to drive to them and another half hour to inspect each one, and he would only have to do that once a year. Mike said, would you be willing to pay a nominal amount? I said, if they were to hold the easement, we would pay them $1,000 to put in an account. And as long as it's not an annual recurring expense, and a one-time thing, I'd be okay with. So he's gonna see what he can find out.
Right, good news.
So. Go to maps and kiosks, so. That Russ,
Watch us and
I'll
we'll
let-
chime in.
any of the three on the little subcommittees are welcome to take the floor.
We'll all have a little, we all have a little something different to say, so.
So Virginia arrived at the game code, where we will place all the kiosk type signs. Tell at all the trailheads, but then it's in the intersections as well, so I'll let you, Peter, I'll work with him, but when the snow clears a little bit. almost immediately. But in the interim, we were asked to kind of think about what would be the design for all the kiosks, should you just uniform, what should be on them? So I literally took a picture of every kiosk. Some of them are in better shape than others, but they're all pretty much the same size. So I'll let Ian talk about what this option will be.
Pass the interaction, refresh people's memory. Just hold on to what they
What should be on the kiosk and what's not on the.
So this is what's on there now in varying forms.
Can I interrupt for a second? Do you have something on your, that you want to show us?
Not yet.
Okay,
I mean, it was this,
I was gonna say,
oh,
I would, this is maybe more for the future than for tonight, but when. As we continue to use the new setup here, we should be able to show that stuff up there so you can see it. And we don't have to do.
I just have to pull up the same picture that Ann is passing around, but that's,
No, they're great, actually.
but we made a copy.
Are you familiar with how to do that? Yeah.
Yes, I just have to learn on this.
Okay.
But I know how to do it.
That's fine.
So based on what's there and the idea that we had agreed at the last meeting that the paper, the receptacle for paper maps was gonna go away.
This
We
is McCullough, Flat Rock.
we talked about, you know, sort of streamlining it and including a QR code as well to link back to the website. And we didn't remember to think about including a land acknowledgement notification, but that could be slipped in here. So there's two versions here. One is, most of the maps are portrait
Two are landscape.
and two are landscape. So this is just one, you know, the layout of the kiosks. one with portrait and one with landscape.
One
Give
thing
you a
that's not,
visual.
one thing that's not consistent, that's, for example, this one does not have anything about coyote warnings. So
Right.
we'll come to that.
So we're gonna,
Coyote warnings are on
Right.
every other kiosk.
the most, yeah, and they're all different. The coyote warnings are all like a Xerox piece of paper that's been laminated and stapled on.
Right.
So we wanted to sort of talk with the group about how to approach that. We wanted to, it's just to sort of clean it up a little bit.
And the
Yes,
chick warnings,
we're not-
obviously, like.
Right,
that's
doesn't
pretty-
take warning. And I wanted to point out that Andrea very rightly noticed that the maps should be at the bottom of the kiosk so that you can get up closer to them
Oh, that makes sense.
and really.
Andrea's
see
eye
them.
level.
Also really good for kids, right? So
Kids,
we want to
too.
encourage the next generation to get out and walk, get off their phones. So anything that we can put at their eye level.
You do have verbiage though, that I thought was actually quite good. Maybe Andrew's gonna talk about.
Or,
Maybe that's it for coyote.
yeah, so the coyote
Both those times, yeah.
warning question was best, the three of us a little bit, and I don't know who wants to sort of summarize it. Some of the concerns, I mean,
I think I have, a few.
we have, what's there now, I think the three of us felt is inadequate and hard to read because it's dated and, you know, amateurs, but, there's plenty of stock coyote warning signs that you can buy on the internet. And, I guess.
With every one of the incidents involved something with a small dog.
So if somebody, what was
So this is an
a good
example.
size,
of
like, what was like,
one.
about 40 pounds, I think?
Yes, I said, my dog was 80, and I knew it was, I was saying that's like a small deer, and it was like a big coyote. But it was protecting the den only during that period.
Yes.
But if you're hiking, as I said, I hike 10 times more than I think anyone here. And there's so many people that won't go in the woods because they're terrified of ticks, or they're now used to adding to their fears, that are usually pretty
Well, that's why
unfounded.
we wanted to
So I
talk about
think
the wording.
If you
and-
keep it like, if you have a small dog, keep
Mhm.
it with you, next to you. We've hiked in like bear country. And I know in the Adirondacks, they make you keep the dog on a leash
Mhm.
because the dog will run out, get a bear and make it back to you.
Right,
But as I said, I think you want to find that fine balance between
absolutely.
scaring people, so you don't have anyone on your trails
Right.
to, as I've been in Lyme and, they walk
And I'm
right
gonna
by me,
pass
they don't
this.
bother you, the little ones.
Easy
Mhm.
from roll.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking that this is a rather.
Because they're
gigantic.
I know,
Let me just comment.
Like eye.
Yeah.
I think the warning should still be there, but yeah, I mean, I think they.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
just saying that keep your pets on a leash would be.
Well, I'm sure the beach
But
enough,
so we do, it's not in
they
the town
don't.
rules and people don't,
Guilty,
so.
I know.
See, this seems more scary than that.
Yeah, so let me
So
give you
there's
a little
two
background
pictures
about
on
the
the top,
coyote
so you
warning.
could scroll down. And there's also suggestions of wording, but I could get into that in a little
So
bit.
the coyote sign that we had and much of the content on the kiosk date back to Amanda, and I don't think we've really done much in the way of changing it, but he came out with a coyote sign. Wendy Hill, who was the open space coordinator, vice chair of the Lyme Land Trust, adapted it for use in Lyme. And I circled Wendy on Gateway, I know her well, and she said you can use our design, just change the town. So that's our coyote sign.
Oh, really?
But it's all verbiage too, and it's a lot of
No
verbiage.
images, it's pretty dense, looks like it was printed like, on a Xerox or something and then laminated. And consequently, we're thinking that an actual sign is needed if it's gonna be weatherproof and readable.
So the other thing I would mention is this commission has debated and argued about dogs on leash for the entire time I've been on the commission. We had one commission member who was adamant. He says, he says, I walk every day on open space with my dog and I'm not gonna put him on a leash.
Well, this is the thing, I mean, there is a leash law in Connecticut, I mean, people don't always follow it, but you can't force someone, you just give them
Well,
information.
that's the issue too, is that, so we also said, you've got to have your dog on a leash, and then it comes down to, well, who's gonna enforce that? I don't want Peter to have to come up and confront someone who,
No.
and you don't know where that's gonna go.
I mean, I've seen people literally have their dog clipped to a leash.
Yeah.
But the person isn't even holding the
Right,
leash,
right.
so the dog is on a leash, but there's nobody manning the, you know what I mean? I mean, you know, it's.
Well, I think,
Beyond, last thing, beyond coyotes, people are afraid of dogs. I was
Oh,
walking
yes.
in open space with my wife, and this big dog came running up. He was a friendly dog, but my wife is nervous about dogs. He came up and jumped against her chest and knocked her right on the
oh my
backside.
gosh.
And I'm sorry, but still, you know, you
Yeah.
gotta, people just let their dogs run wild.
Yeah.
Our trail rules only state all dogs under your control, doesn't specify leash.
Okay, well, that's probably a holdover from the member who insisted that. Yeah, so, I mean, I feel like if it did say on a leash, and if people choose not to comply with that, at least an individual who is not comfortable around dogs would feel like they had, you know, justification for saying, you know, it's the rules, would you please leash your dog? And not everybody's gonna comply. Most dog owners, if they see you coming, they put them on the leash or.
Yeah, that's what
You know.
we do. Only ones that were not,
Mm,
where somebody was very disappointed, and we had a nice conversation. It was
right,
actually an opportunity to get to know somebody,
right.
and they actually ended up being lovely
Mhm.
and saying that they overreacted, they were just afraid, but, you know, I said, no, you know. So I think it's how we coach this. I think educating, again, I'm a big educator. I think educating people, however we choose to do that, whether it's in a kiosk or a sign, be respectful, think of other people. You know, that kind of language, I think, really can help us.
Can I just ask, like, what is the liability? Like honestly, like if we have a sign that says, you know, keep your dog on a leash in accordance with what we want. And somebody's out there and their dog isn't on a leash and the dog is either attacked by a coyote and killed, or the dog that should be super friendly, all of a sudden gets spooked and attacks somebody else. So what, I mean, what is the liability that open space has? Cause that is kind of important. Is there any?
What the?
Is there liability?
Yes,
Like, is the town,
that's a good question.
Hmm.
The town has obviously liability insurance. I could attorney pierce that and try to take it to court, I don't know.
I mean, we should just, maybe just ask. I mean, again, you can only put the information out there. If someone doesn't follow the
Right, we're not
rule,
gonna
that's.
have policing the trails.
Right, there's no way, but it might be important to know, like, something. I mean,
There really should be a disclaimer. This is how on the corporate side we handle these things. And if you step in to our open space property, you are agreeing to the following. So you have some kind of disclaimer, you make that as large or as small as you like. But a legal organization would take a look at that and say, okay, so if somebody does end up suing, you could always go back to the disclaimer. Right, say, we had this.
It's a great time to have that conversation because we have monies in our legal account. And we can ask our lawyer. It's a great question. Thank you, Maria.
Yeah.
I can have our attorney address that. And we also, because of Isaac not being on the job and the weather and so forth, we have, this is also a great year to basically completely redo all the signage on there. So if you think we need a new sign for coyotes or whatever, this is a great year to do
We
that.
could, we word it something like, you know, for the safety of both your pet and other hikers, please keep your dog on a leash, and then at least you're making them think. "Oh,
I mean, you could maybe even like put the state statute there somewhere. I know that again, there is a loose law, so maybe you put that in, or maybe you put a disclaimer saying, you know, you've entered open space territory and you assume all risk.
kind of-
Wildlife is unpredictable. We ask you to keep your pets on leashes for the protection of yourself and. You know, so something, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there because I just would hate for.
I think we've mixed the two issues with dog. Issue one was keep your dog on a leash for its own safety in mating.
Yes, yes.
They would say,
And,
yeah.
But now we're.
That's like we made a comment that.
And the second one was for the protection of other people. I've gotten bit as a guy saying, don't worry, it's friend.
Yeah, probably.
But I've seen a lot of dogs and if you know dogs, you see golden retriever, no problem. You see something, yes, I don't want to get into any particular breed, but there's some I'll walk off the side of the trail.
I mean, people always ask me, and I've got a golden, you know, is your dog friendly? You know, has she ever bitten, never bitten? I always say, the standard answer is, she's got teeth, you know what I mean? Like, I should never bitten anybody before, but she's got a set of teeth, so, you know, I mean, I'm pretty safe with a golden, but you just never know.
It is hard to hike. We had run a group hike maybe a few weeks ago, Fred run, Fizz, who's the best behaved dog I've ever seen. And some couple lady, there's 20 people on the hike, were like, that dog's gonna trip me. And I go, yeah, no way. But he put it on the leash, just,
Yeah.
he had to, because
Right.
if the dog ever tripped the
Yeah.
dog lady, it would be a real big problem, but
What's,
normally they run around.
Yeah.
what's currently on our
thing, but-
kiosk is the town of Line Open Space Trail Road. It's no ATVs, no motorized vehicles, no firearms, no hunting, no tree or plant removal, fires, all dogs under your control, no trash and dog waste, from sunrise to sunset. So it's very succinct and simple. That's consistent on all the kiosks.
I mean, I really do love that. I really do love that. I think it allows someone to make their own judgment about how they wanna be with their pet. Just would hate for something to happen and then us to come back and get in trouble, that's all.
The Old Line Land Trust has a sign, I'm not looking to change our rules, but just to compare. Closed at sunset, no motorized vehicles, no hunting, trapping, no firearms, no fires, no cutting or removal of anything. Please carry out what you carry and keep dogs under your control. Thank you.
It's the
It's
same.
the same.
Same,
Yeah.
very close.
They probably took it from us.
It's slightly different.
You said you, is your working group on a meet again and come back with
Well,
fine ideas?
I'd like to.
I actually-
I think we should pick signs, we got two different sizes. I think we should go to the smaller size.
Definitely.
So,
You know, with all the conservation groups,
Sorry, which sign are you talking about?
The tips.
the
Tick sign, okay.
Coyotes go bigger.
with all the conservation groups, I would not be surprised that there are not companies with breed on sciencey.
Oh, yeah, no, that's,
Fine.
that was one of our questions is how strongly people feel about micromanaging the wording, or can we like get maybe 3 or 4 examples? And just say, vote for your favorite, and that's what we'll buy.
I like both of those two.
Scroll up and down.
I like both those two. I think
So
they're great.
both of these, plus that one, you have to scroll up and down, part of what we were looking at were visuals and then the content. One of them is orange coyotes, I can't remember what it says, coyote, one it says coyotes habitat. So and then it gives a little blurb as to educating about the coyotes, their habitat, what they eat. And then there are 4 little pictures of like do's and don'ts. And we would potentially modify that with the one minus something about fight back. And the other one is a bright orange. Coyotes are active here or something, but it's, it's orange, so you see it, and then you can minimize or elaborate upon the verbiage, so.
Yeah, I think there's way too much text on that side.
Oh, yeah, well, there's,
I
yes,
like this because it's really brief.
Yeah.
And it tells you what to do.
that's
It
just,
doesn't say that coyotes are bad.
Yeah.
I like the idea of educating people about it, but maybe the kiosk isn't the best, then we could do something more with the website or have a presentation or both.
You could have a
Um,
QR code on
You
there.
could have a QR code
And
on the
somebody can
side,
just say, hey, I want more information.
but this tells
Yeah.
you clearly what to do and what not to do and
You
not
don't
to
run
keep
away
them.
screaming.
And to keep your-
Like I did.
Keep your pets on a leash. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty well, it's on.
I like the idea of having something like that on, right on the kiosk. so you
Yeah.
say,
Yeah,
So that was
I
the other
think that's
question, guys.
simple.
We do existing kiosks, we're proposing a map, trail rules, tick sign, and coyote sign.
And the QR code.
At this stage.
QR codes.
And then do we
More
want to
important
do we want to do the two and the
QR code
coyote
is
the
on
same
the
size?
kiosk sign.
Oh, okay.
Like the coyote size is always like the size of the map.
Right, so those are
Same.
approximations.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The
They were
map-
so perfect, I thought. maybe-
Well,
Yeah, up to
The
scale.
map is to scale, it is to
Oh,
scale,
okay.
it's to scale for the kiosk. The only thing that I measured and knew the dimensions of was the
I
map.
see, okay.
These things were kind of guesses. And the coyote, some of the coyote signs that we looked at online looked like they could be pretty big. The tick sign is pretty small. And the little sign seems like it would be about this, but yeah.
Can't throw a monkey wrench in though. One of the things that one of your bigger problems is no one is on this trails, or very few people on this trail relative to the population. And it may be worth a section to direct people to find the hiker happy hour, or I'm hoping in the spring maybe to set up more like, hey, this Tuesday morning hikes, something like that. But that, if you don't, I know like in the vineyard, my son was saying they've taken so much open space that now they're going back at them and wanting them to start paying taxes because they pulled so much land out of the tax base. And if you got more support by having more people hiking, you know, and you know, like I run a big hiking as a group, that would be,
You know, I feel like that's a great idea. If we could link it to like the website or something, because we can't be updating.
no, that would
kiosk.
be, no,
That's a
that would be
great
one way to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
And I think that as much as, I know, sorry, you don't like, we don't like Facebook, but we started a Facebook page for our group, 2 years ago. I got like 2,500 people already.
right.
And I don't use that for our signups or postings, but, you can,
Yeah.
but,
Well, I
it
don't,
does
are we
draw.
allowed to have a separate? Or do
Yeah,
we have to use
Yeah,
panel?
that's a great question. I'll ask about that. I know that at one point, there were some agencies that were kind of going off the reservation, posting stuff that was thought not appropriate for a government agency.
I guess, yeah.
And so there was a moratorium put on agencies using Facebook, but I will check this.
But isn't it also?
More different, yeah.
I know the town has, somehow I'm on an Lime Facebook page.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
But everyone can put stuff on there. If you can limit, like I know on ours, I have to approve if someone wants to post it. It
yeah,
is.
you have to have an administrative.
Oh,
I
so you're
not
gonna be
everybody
like-
could
I
write
could
in,
cut
could
it
be
out.
in the
Or,
chair or
yeah,
Katie to say, this is what's going on, this event, this coyote warning, and that's all.
but it'd be nice, like with the hiker happy hour. If you took a lot of pictures and you popped them in there,
Mhm.
the social, like, oh yeah, there's that. I didn't know she hiked with this group or
Right.
that. That's how you pull people. Yeah, I'll get them together.
I would caution about putting current data on a kiosk.
Hmm.
Kiosk is gonna,
No,
we're
no.
not gonna update
It would
it.
be a
It has
direction
to be a
to,
direct to the.
no, it won't be, yeah, it would be too
Like
much
a
work
QR
to,
code, that's a great
go.
idea.
I don't think we should get too much in the weeds. I would
that would
urge the group, the working group of Ann, Russ and Andrew to come up with specific signs and share them with.
If we could keep a small spot for that,
Yeah.
like, if sort of like to hike the group, go to this
And that
site.
leads into this, I think we're gonna have to, we need to look at the website again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I want to get into, let me finish here. So if you guys have like, say, a couple different options for a coyote sign, you can send them to me and I can distribute them to everybody, or I have a scanner, and I also, work with Jasmine, so the next meeting, we can show that stuff up there too, so you don't have to pass around a lot now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we'll like select the top 3 coyote signs and
Coyotes,
get
yeah, I
feedback.
would give you guys free rein to do whatever you think needs to go on there. Coyotes, ticks, rules of the road, whatever.
Yes.
I mean,
Well-
I still like the four sign idea.
Right.
Max.
Everybody gets cluttered seating, but
And then what about the
You
native
got-
sign?
Yeah,
but the land acknowledgement, I think,
Well,
is something we
which would
talked
be
about.
small, short.
I was thinking it could just, since it's probably gonna be like 2 sentences, it could go right underneath the map or
Yeah.
something, just like boom, down at the bottom.
What is it like a dedication or
It's the acknowledgement that the land, was
donated.
indigenous.
Yeah.
Not donated,
Okay, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
indigenous.
Yeah, I was gonna segue into that. So-
Oh, okay.
So, no, you can, you're.
So I don't know if you all looked on the I sent around, and I kind of worked through some pretty potential.
Seems there's a handful ones.
Yeah, the one I liked, I kind of highlighted on there was the second one. Cause I thought it was like a good combination of like an acknowledgement, but also like the work that we do, which was the one that was, as we acknowledge our indigenous neighbors. We must work with the protection of the land, the water, the flowers, and the feathered and furred creatures who accompany us. That was directed from the wording that I got from the New Hampshire Council.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that. Here it is.
Lovely.
but I don't know.
I would maybe almost say something like that. We acknowledge the indigenous people who cared for the land and we continue to care for the land today.
Yeah, I liked actually like a combination of one that was modified from St. Anne.
Yeah.
And then the second one, which says, and it's not in front of me, so I only saw it digitally, but, yeah, so like if you combined those two, you're, we're acknowledging them, but also saying that we're working to preserve, and, I think it's important to sort of link that it's, right?
I mean, I can combine those two. That
Which 2 are you talking
was
about?
1 and 2.
Oh, 1 and 2?
The only thing about 2 that bothered me a little bit was, to kind of was a little long.
Okay.
It would be
Yeah, these were
great.
his words. That's why I was
Right,
using that. Yeah.
right. Like the furred friends, maybe we could just sort of
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
Little creatures things.
I love the furred friend.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Second one, I don't know if the second one is yours or the Indians, but we acknowledge the indigenous people who came before us as we work for the protection of land, water, flowers, and animals.
Yeah,
Is
that's.
that the one you're
That's,
talking about?
yeah.
Then you just have animals and it's
Mhm.
one sentence.
And I would say plants instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, plants. Yes, land, water, plants and animals.
Are the Hamptons repping this?
No,
Or is there-
they has not.
Yeah, so that is an issue that I'm really conscious of, that I want to avoid any language that can be misconstrued or used in a fashion that we didn't intend. In saying X land belongs to white people, and then white people make a bid to reclaim land.
And that's why this has like either
What
indigenous
is this, the
neighbors.
GP? Do you have any language on any of that? I don't think I've ever seen one on one of the, like, bad job.
Probably don't want to touch it with a.
So what's, in this regard, the House Working Committee, that are Christine's language, and then the other thing I would ask you, Christine, is would you be willing to work with Andrea and put together kind of a page on Native American history and open space?
Absolutely.
So we have, talk about what's that aims, we talked about, Mr. Markham's various, I don't know what you call them, stone monuments or
Oh.
whatever. You took some great pictures and kind of, again, too, we talked about, I think maybe try to do a little research too. I think it would really be cool if we could find somewhere maybe in UConn's collection, actual images of maybe holes or things that the people that inhabited the caves and things actually
That would
used.
be nice to make it real.
Did you ever ask John?
No, I didn't.
I had been interviewed and then I did it out. So I talked to them, so.
I think Markham Star was a little concerned about,
We would not identify work and so.
Where,
Yeah,
correct.
that-
We would say,
Would be cool.
here's an
but
example.
not what
Here's an
you
example
wrote
of
or
this
what-
that was
yeah,
found
that
that's
would
located
really
wrong.
kind
He's
of-
gonna hike, he's gonna hike with us again in a month or so and clears it up in Lime, so I can, if you need me to ask him anything like that. That new property that we're gonna get, I haven't been over there the last couple of weeks, but that trail in Upper 3 Mile. He said is loaded with, stuff, if you want to hike over there, we might be able to set up it might have to be more, not a happy hour hike, but a real hike there.
Yeah.
It's
I'd love
rough
to
in
do
there.
that.
Do you have a good relationship with John?
Mhm.
Do you want to contact him and see if he has any images of anything he might have found?
Okay.
Right.
I'll see you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's back to both of them.
And the other thing I wanted to get back to, and I don't know if you wanted to mention that, Russ, and wrote to me that, if one of the things we can do to enhance the website is put in descriptions of some of the descriptions of the trails and so forth within the.
So I've started the CT Trails
Yeah.
effort, so that's gonna be part of it, so I was gonna bring that up. I would like to be able to, there's partial description of the trails, partial history, I haven't read through. We talked about stuff on the one a while ago. I think part of that could be open space's involvement in generating these trails and that kind of stuff is a little bit different from generating what's the difficulty of the trail, what do you see on the trail, where is it? There's an opportunity to add some pictures, this Connecticut trails, one once that finally gets up. It's gonna take a while to do it, I still have to figure out how to get some of the global database, geodatabase files. Steve Perry made it for us to Connecticut trails. It's my problem, not knowing how to file transfer something I can't open up, so. So it's that piece. We also have to overlap with a lot of land trust because the current maps you have from us are old.
Mhm.
And we need to update those to the new. So
We'll be happy to give you the PDFs or whatever.
Yeah, like I said, we're kind of holding off till the sale goes through, which we're hoping is.
this is for the five properties, signs out. So
Yeah.
you can send me with the contact is, I can send them the PDF.
Does he work on the website?
Yes. Edie.
So if you give them a heads up that you'll be asking to just have those
Okay.
looked.
So I'm one of Edie's stewards off of the, Hoffman Matheson, because I live right on the. So I've enjoyed working with Edie a lot. She's really great.
And I think when I get more information back from Connecticut Trails, Steve can actually put the geodatabase in Connecticut Trail appropriate. It's a wordage, I can't quite remember, but the right format. I like the points of interest and points on the trail. I did most of that when I did the trails. But I'm not sure how that translates to what Connecticut Trail will. I'll come back and talk about, I want to get more. The pictures we would like to include. My view, we have no accessible trails, that's what I said. There's no wheelchair access for. Maybe Horseneck Creek, but
One day, maybe, but.
so I said we don't, but that actually changes.
What is CT Trails?
Hmm?
What is CT Trails?
It's out of Yukon, continually, but it's Google CT Trails, and it's a website that is useful for people who want to find places to hike.
Right, I've used it. I Googled a lot when I first got here.
I've never seen it used. I've been, almost everyone uses all trails.
Right, I have all
I've
trails
heard of that. I think I've
app
seen it
on my
a couple
phone,
times, but
An advantage, I think, because it's a lot of land use, or a lot of land trust people use just to post their trails. The whole idea is to have access to everything throughout Connecticut, focus on Connecticut, focus on the area. I think it's just nice to kind of be included in that. I'm not sure how many immediate towns or immediate land trusts are. In that.
And one of the things is we ended up finding our cartographer through Yukon Clear. And Yukon Clear has two full-time, basically, map professionals, Carrie Chadwick and Emily Wilson, you know, and they're the ones pushing their thing, you know, and I would hope any objections or attributes that fall short of all trails, whatever, they're gonna be working on to fix that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they will, yeah. They don't actually do most of it all work for you. They were surprised how much we'd already done. I said, well, we've done most of that with the intent of eventually pursuing listing on Connecticut trails.
Did you have more that you wanted to mention? The one thing I wanted to mention about maps is, you know, and what like we really need to work on that, is if Steve Perry can get us a period, Andy Wildlife Refuge,
I know.
this will be,
Yeah, we totally. And it's gonna be challenging,
Yeah.
because stuff isn't gonna emerge, in
no,
time.
I'm not talking about the map of the, just the property.
Okay, just the plain map,
Yes,
and then,
yes.
but sort of overlapping the
Well,
physical.
what we could do is, I'd like you to just get a plain map.
Yeah.
To go with a page on the website,
Yeah.
and then we can, from there, take the next step.
Right, good.
So
Well, he seemed to think that
it should
there's
be
a way
pretty,
to do it, and it.
without any
it's
trails that
just
we have to
simple.
walk, it should be pretty fast and simple for him.
Right, it's, you know, if he can just come out one time probably with.
Yeah.
Me and Russ, and show us how to drop the pins in a way when you don't have a trail. You know, and I'm very interested to hear what he has to say about, you know. Being able to locate our pilot area and in it.
Want to talk about third ending?
Why don't we talk about that? All right, so, we sent out a very wordy update, but mainly by way of sort of launching some proposed goals for this year. There's been, you know, a lot of discussion about, are we gonna continue to do this? Are we gonna continue to do that? So I hope you got a chance to take a glance at it anyway. You know, I won't go through the whole thing. The pond restoration is underway. I actually emailed Roger Wolf at Deep, who was involved and still involved actually in the Lord's Cove Phragmites project up there. And I just asked him, you know, I said, we're a couple of years in and we've had really great success, and what happened at Lord Cove, and you know, did, you know, does it continue to go on? So, this is summarize what he said, was that they had a multiplayer involvement there between the Nature Conservancy and the state, private property owners, and Gateway actually underwrote some of the expenses as well. To do basically what we've been doing in our pond at Ferry Landing, you know, mowing and spraying, control and Phragmites pretty effectively. And, but then the coalition sort of fell apart, and some of the property owners, including Rich Snarsky, who had been really spearheading it, either moved or lost interest. Actually, there's a hunting club up there too that was part of the coalition, and they're no longer interested in participating. So there's still a lot of state land that is part of the cove, and the state still works it, mows it at least, and sprays it, but he says, I would like to be able to treat the entire area, but with the limited crew I have now, we'd be down there for weeks neglecting other areas that we treat. So we get there and try to do as much as we can in a short period of time. So after all that, particularly in areas like the lower Connecticut River, where brackish marshes provide ample habitat for Phragmites, once you start a Phragmites or other invasive plant control program, you need to be committed to staying in it for the long haul. We know through experience that if you walk away, it will just take a few years for it to reinvade. So it was nice to reconnect with him. He's come down to Clear Landing a couple of times and he's a walker. He brought some kayaks down and we went out and explored. That was before we were really doing anything down there. That's just sort of my way of saying, if we have to make a case for future expenses to manage the Phragmites or any other invasives, really, I think we've got deep on our side. That it's not something you can. And then,
When I come on my house and not to, like, is the first time it cuts like bamboo, it's hard. Next time, and you get those green shoots, I can go with the weed whacker and they come down like cutting with the weed whacker fast and easy. And if I do that twice a year, that's been more than adequate.
right,
And it's hard with kind of muddy. And I have two boards and I gotta use them like snowshoes. And it's been 3 seconds to, not 3 seconds, 30 minutes to do.
right,
I just want to keep it away from the water so they don't continue to invade the water.
right.
And that's been very adequate and,
Yeah. Well, if at some point they disappear entirely from the interior of the pond,
oh.
we
and
may
then
be able
sure.
to just do the perimeter with a weed whacker, and it could even be like a town employee,
Yeah.
get authorization or something. I think most people feel like if you have any mature Phragmites by fall, they need to be treated.
I know that I would never be able to get rid of them all and they're gonna come, if I don't do that, they'll be
Come
back in
yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
As we saw behind the hideaway
Right.
and,
Right.
but I didn't want them invading. They don't seem to like to be in deeper water.
Well, the pond is very, very shallow, so.
They got shallow on the house,
Yeah.
just like that much.
So, I don't know if anybody, had any comments about the suggested goals moving
The one thing
forward?
I wanted to mention to you, Ann, is we talked about really the Atlantis trees, but the ones that might be near the road could be problematic if they die and fall.
Right. So
Would
we would
you
need them
consider
to-
having a tree service come in and take those out?
We could, sure, and, I think we could
As we
probably,
get close, more into the spring,
right,
you see our budget is like, that might be something to consider for project of fiscal year.
okay, great, we have the money, I'm all for it, they would have to be, the stumps would have to be painted.
Yeah.
So,
When you
but
say painted, like, so that they don't sprout.
basically. So here's that other. So it's sort of it's a roadmap for going forward. I'm trying to think, with the idea of any future planting, watering really remains the critical problem. And I watched this webinar with CLC and Yukon Garden and Lawn or whatever on invasive plant management, and some of it was, information I was aware of, and there were some good points, and it was nice to hear some corroboration of how we've been going about things. But it occurred to me that there may be other land trusts out there in the state that are doing replanting efforts, and I'm wondering how they're getting water to their site. You know, so
To-
I could reach out to them and.
Do you read or get the Yukon message board that Land Trust posts on?
No,
That-
no,
I-
that would be a good
Let me
message.
find
Yeah.
something for that,
Okay.
and maybe we can post something on that.
That
I
would
think
be
you would
great.
get, anybody that posts anything on it gets an immediate 3 or 4 responses to the Land Trust.
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
You're familiar with it, I'm sure.
I'm familiar with it and if people are like Gray, you know, in terms of their depth of reading and intent and response.
Right.
So it's Greg on steroids. So you would get a response.
Well, good. think
I mean
that
it
we
as
should
a
do that.
compliment.
And just, you know, we'll see what we get
Very
there
resourceful.
and move forward with.
You do a rain bucket, an elevated rain bucket.
We thought about it, in some places, we might be able to get enough rain now in a year without drought. Because we've opened up the canopy a lot,
Could you
so
fill it from just the pond, fresh water?
that's what we've been using, is the pump. And
Could you just take like a pump one time, pump it, fill up your rain barrel that's elevated,
Mhm.
and then put a hose connection coming out of the bottom of the
Yeah,
barrel?
pumping from the pond becomes really problematic because there's so much debris, so much
Yeah.
organic matter in the pond.
Oh,
that
it's
it
not-
would
Yeah, that was an
clog the
issue. If
pond.
you're
Plus, there's no power.
sucking up
down
water
there,
from the
so
pond, you have a filter that clogs the filter really quickly.
that-
Wait, yeah, isn't there a well?
There's a well and there is power, but it's on state land. And I don't know that they would, how that would go over. It would be a very complicated conversation.
Is it
Not out of the
you
question,
just
but
open the top and put it?
I'm saying like,
Not that kind of well.
like,
it's like a well head
I
that
thought I saw that,
you
yeah.
need like some kind of
yeah,
bars and
I
anyway.
mean, it's really, I mean, sadly, like the placement of that well is so perfect.
I know. It's very
Okay.
tantalizing.
Okay, yeah. All right, I just had to get that through my head, like, there is a well that we can use.
Someday.
It's like being in an ocean with lots of seawater.
Is there any option for solar?
Some, but it's heavily wooded.
Heavily wooded,
So,
right, so you have to find,
Yeah, again, the state land has lots of open,
Yeah,
open land with no trees on it, except a few on it, but
because that would be something I would like more consider. I mean, how do we harness solar for
well, then maybe we'll
irrigation?
find out that that's how people are handling it elsewhere. And,
Right.
you know, I don't wanna, we can't keep reinventing the wheel. But we're getting there, baby steps. And for the goat fans here, I just wanted to let you know, I found out about another
Yay.
goat grazing outfit.
Yes.
Very close by, by my standards anyway, it's near Montville. And, so I went to their website and, I thought they looked good, so I'm gonna.
They like to eat, they like to eat both.
They
Anything.
like to eat muffin for a rose. They like some things more than others, but, they
Not
seem.
the sucking plant that I hope.
Well, this is why you need a professional, you know, somebody who knows what they're doing to actually set up the perimeter fence. And then I was like, well, how do you power the electric fence? And Martha said, oh, they probably just bring a car battery to.
No, that's a probably. You could also just like tether them, right? Like, can you tether them?
I don't know. I'm not a goat expert.
Yeah.
4 Mile River Farm, if you guys have gone shopping there, so they have goats there all the time. They're hugely knowledgeable about goats. Every time we stop, we get out, see the goats.
Well, they may not want to get them into a
Oh, no.
vehicle and
Right.
bring them to.
But we can learn more about goats.
We
from
can
them.
learn more about goats,
Yeah.
but what I'm really interested in is somebody who's gonna bring the goats to us.
Bring them back.
Take care of them while they're there, and then take them away.
Yeah, you should just buy a goat and walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bad. I could feed them.
Okay, so how's it say that?
I'll take it for the holiday.
I just have a couple things I want to touch on and then we can wrap up. I hope over. And I wanted to compliment Christine for writing a very nice article for that.
Yeah. Yes,
Sure it all.
such a hopeful feeling reading that.
Not you discovered you're such a good writer person.
Uh,
The other thing is, Andrea sent some stuff. We are now a municipal affiliate of the Connecticut Land Conservation Council. I don't know how much that will help us avail with some of their consulting things, but it does give us a discount to their conference. And we get an extra discount if we are early bird registrant, which ends on February 23rd. So if anybody's interested in going to the conference, please let me know, maybe by this weekend, and I'll send in all our names. You don't have to pay anything. We'll be billed for anybody that wants to attend. Does anybody need a flyer?
No, but I'm sorry, did I miss you say you would be signing us up? for the event?
No, if
Okay.
you would, if someone is interested in attending,
Uh-huh.
send the name to me.
Okay.
And I will send the names of all the open space people to CLCC, and they will bill open space.
Oh, okay, all right, so open space is gonna pay for that?
Yes. They did last
Yes, we
year.
did. They also have a good listserv, you know, for your questions.
Yeah.
That,
Right.
you know, I get those all the time is, you know, responses to this question and that question.
So Dan, I would mention that there's a ABC, the annual ABC meeting that morning,
Yeah,
in which chairs are, it's sort of encouraged to attend. And so I will probably not get there till like 12:30.
well,
And if that's the thing with you, I don't have an issue with you doing half a day. And that still goes to the C3 workshops.
yeah, I've done it before, I
Yeah.
went like the first couple of times I went for.
I know Russ is traveling and,
Yeah, I'm gonna be away.
I'll be in college.
I want to, there's some good stuff.
I know,
Like
Greg,
kiosk ones, that's.
I was thinking of going, but do you have to go for the entire?
You do not.
You
You
don't,
do not.
perfect.
you can go for whatever you think is
Well,
gonna
if you're gonna
be
be
of interest.
it'd be great if you went in the morning, since we can't be there. in the morning.
Yeah, that would work.
But no pressure. Good point. Yeah. Sure, and you're away.
Yeah, this year I can't go.
Yeah.
So.
When is it?
But that,
When is it?
March 21st.
you can pass it down. You're welcome to that, John.
Yeah.
And I think I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
My circle, so.
The last thing I wanted to mention is, so my wife is friends with Elspeth Dowd, who's the director of Flame Art Academy, Flame Art Association. Well, always, and we understand that because certain people vociferously complained about the location last year. They are. Audubon is gonna have tables, but they're not, all the conservation people are gonna be somewhere else. So,
Okay, so we'll get better placement for
yeah,
next summer.
yes, yes.
So we basically told them if we're not at Lime Art Association, we're not doing it. That it's not worth it to do that.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because we were in like a back.
Like you did.
Very hopeful about it.
Yeah,
So,
it
I
was
think,
tricky.
go ahead,
I have the video thing I was gonna talk about.
okay, sorry. So, Andrea has some nice video of beavers that we wanna talk about what you need.
So I have 19 clips about between 10 and 20 seconds of beavers at Bartholomew chewing at night. I think I sent you all one of the better ones where you can actually hear them. There's 6 deer, some with ducks, 1 coyote, 1 owl. And sitting in the nook of the tree. And I found a woman who can has the Adobe setup, which Emily Evers used to have. She was the one who did the last iteration, but she doesn't have that anymore, and this woman has that whole setup. And she is a graphic artist by training. Would be interested, she came over for something else, and I was getting information about her background, I said. And I showed her the videos, and I said, "Good, change shift here, can you do this, can you do that?" And so she can. So I just, before I bring her on board, I just wanted to,
Do you have a ballpark figure from her?
she did not give one and she won't give one, but I wanted to discuss that. she didn't offer one.
I would, my thought would be if you think it's reasonable and no one's gonna look at it, saying, you pay that much for it?
Well, I
Then
can tell you.
I'm fine
what
with
we
going
paid
ahead.
for
Yes,
Emily.
yeah.
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'll look back. at
Yeah,
what
I
we
think it
paid
was
Emily
probably
and-
20-ish. 20, was it by an hour?
Oh, I know you're gonna, I can't recall, honestly.
All right.
I'm sorry.
But
Other
um,
things, Alex-
my best guess, even with, when we started with Alex Roth, was that it was, I think we figured about $20 an hour and we gave him like $200 for like, up to 10 hours or something.
Perfect.
That's what I was thinking with what my recollection with Alex, and then we had Riley there, who I think comped us on some of it actually, and Emily Evers, and you could give me those figures and then and she did not, I mean, it's not very much, and the whole thing would be like up to a minute, is my estimation, and
People can't pay attention.
So you're trying to do for animals and, hold on.
just the beavers,
I
with
was
the
thinking
little
we could
deer
get-
and owl, like
Okay, I was thinking.
peppered through in the snow.
Cameos by
we
the
could,
deer.
if you have more
And-
time
and
to
then-
the
then-
bobcat that's running around and some more coyote pictures.
Yeah.
And I just got a game camera, I haven't been playing with it yet, but you nail a a turkey leg or something, so you can't take it away, so they're stuck on the thing, and that brings them in. And I think there's someone, that Ben who lives above that trailer's work,
Right,
said he thinks the bear den is over across from the pond where we were
bear
Weird.
or beaver.
First Solomon.
in Ames.
There is a bear.
Yeah, so we can throw it that, if we did one over there, you might, you'll get the bobcat, cause he runs around in there and.
Well,
Maybe
We had
bear.
bobcats.
we're gonna separate them.
You put a bear
This is
there,
gonna
warning on the-
be beaver.
Yeah.
Predominantly beaver. I have a camera on Ames that I have to check, probably the battery aside, but, and it's been inaccessible. But we could have one on beavers and then one on bear, one on this, so
Okay.
this, and because it's gotta be, we've all sustained and finished.
Yeah.
So, her guess was a few hours, and I'm gonna just give her up to a day, like, not 24 hours, but like 8 hours.
That's good.
Now, would it be the property specific in terms of the videos or just clips wherever? And
This is on Bartholomew.
this is just.
This is just
Bartholomew, yeah.
Bartholomew where we have the beavers and the camera.
As it is now on the website, we have a variety of animals, animal videos.
Yes.
And I don't think any of, perhaps there's a reference to Ferry Landing
Okay,
in one of the videos that we made there, but the rest are sometimes a composite of different properties. I think most of them were.
They were
are
Ames.
colored And, or Ames, okay.
Um,
Older ones, and then we did about 5 from Ferry Landing, and now we have some, but they've been named after the animals.
I see.
Yeah.
They're not focused on.
they were not, they were usually all specific to a property because that's where the camera was set up.
Be nice to have some specific to the property though, just to bring like people on.
I was thinking
Aerials.
if we get them done, and Bill had been talking about Facebook, I know Facebook's cousin is Instagram, you can put them up as a reel on Instagram if that's okay with the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's.
But I'm not, I like your idea, but it just make it one project thing, so. And if she does this, she would start with the clip of the animals. I think Evan offered to, and maybe yourself, I wrote out something to you, Evan and Fred, and I can't remember who said that based on the video clips, that someone could write a little blurb about the animals, the beaver, specifically, what they're doing, and just maybe something in general to fit into the
Yeah.
Well, I think
40-second clip.
Evan is our beaver guru.
And then she could lay over music and she could do the voice, or she could have Evan speak, whichever is more accessible.
That's good. Interesting. Go with it. Thank you for pursuing that. So I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything? So. A motion to adjourn. And,
Um,
wait,
I'm sorry, we are February April, May. So we are doing the first happy hour hike in May.
Yes.
Just keeping it on the radar. I'd have to look back as to which trails we decided on.
Champlain.
Champlain South, May sixth.
Yeah. Well,
Library
you
Lane.
might want to change that to north if we wanted to go and look at the, salamander pool. Remember, we were thinking maybe,
the
yeah, the
Whirlpools.
vernal pool, see if Mike wanted to.
Yeah.
Join us.
Okay,
Speak on it. And then do library lane.
okay.
Everything,
Yeah, I think Mike Mike
yeah,
wants to talk about that.
yeah. Yeah, he did a great program in his life a couple of years ago.
Okay, so, yeah, that's
So
all.
we have
Just make
in
Motion to adjourn.
adjourn a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Until